All right, I'm going to allow Jared to do the intro to this show. So you intro us, and we can, like, if you were hosting the show, this rewind, I want you to pretend like, no, not pretend, I want you to do.
All right.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, this is Jared with TexAgs Radio. We're doing the TexAgs Radio Rewind. Today we got into a lot of different topics. Had OB with the Go Hour. Always a good time with OB. Always some interesting things going on. Then we brought in Brauny for Recruiting Hour, and we had Liucci on, talking a little A&M football, talking some Johnny football Netflix documentary.
Pretty good so
Then we
far.
just had Matt Brown. Is that his name?
Yeah, Matt Brown. Matt Brownie from the Fan Show was a featured guest.
Dang
today.
it, what was his name?
Tom Hart.
Tom Hart. I don't know why I got that name mixed up, but
I think you did very well. We did talk 23 and 23, number 13, Ruben Fothery, also known as Deuce. There we go.
I caught that one.
It's TexAgs Rewind.
And you can criticize, A&M wasn't ready for the explosion. I don't think anyone would have been.
How can you? How can
I
a
don't
19
think
year old be
anyone
ready
would
for
have
it?
been. Eric Hyman, Kevin Sumlin, Cliff, Johnny, everyone. Did everyone fail in trying to manage it? Yeah, sure, but I think it would have been hard pressed for anyone to have succeeded. And somebody could say, well, Nick Saban would have. Yeah, Nick Saban probably would have kicked him off the team and out of the program. And that's something that Nick Saban in Alabama could have done with a talented redshirt at that time. There was a time where Nick Saban wouldn't have kicked a guy like that off early on at Alabama. So timing was everything for good and for bad. For good, though, I don't think it could have been better. Sumlin, his attitude, Johnny, Cliff, that offense, along with that offensive line, he walks into this developed, incredible offensive line, incredible receivers, and then you drop him into that, and then the offense that the SEC had not seen.
Right.
People don't talk about that. That league hadn't seen anything like it. There was no Lane Kiffin. There was no – Bama was stuck in the Stone Ages at that time. I say the Stone Ages. They were current, but they were not anything wide open.
It was considered an experiment when somebody came over that style.
There was no Mike Leach in there.
Yeah.
There was no Hugh Freeze was in his first season the same time Sumlin was. So Ole Miss and Hugh Freeze, there wasn't that. No one in the league was doing it. And it was that plus a mobile quarterback were the kryptonite for Saban and Kirby Smart, because off script and ad-libbed, what you can't prepare for, was about the only thing that could work against these guys. And timing, again, was everything. A&M was desperate. They made this massive financial decision to come into this league. Everyone thought, like Alan Cannon said, everyone thought A&M was going to get stepped on. I'd be interested to see if he'll be ready for Miami, because on the timetable he's on, and I think he'll be practicing before that. But, what's the point of playing him against New Mexico? Like, what's the point there? Like, other than, you kind of can buy another week there in terms of getting him ready to go. But when he is ready.
Do you not play him a little bit in that one to get him
maybe, depending.
ready
I
for
mean,
Miami?
it totally depends, but yeah, maybe. But you're going to miss, the majority, a good chunk, maybe the majority, I don't know which is which yet, of fall camp. And that's tough. But he's got 2 years of film under his belt. Thought he had a sensational freshman year that you're going, is this guy going to be a high draft pick? I took a step back last year. He's lost weight. It's always that thing with college football players in positions where, Deuce has always been really slim. And it's like, he can fill out that frame significantly. Do you do it? Do you not? You do it, and you find out maybe you're not quite as quick or flexible. Then he lost weight. He looks terrific right now. He was a freshman, and last year he looks better than he has either of those 2 years.
Yep.
He's kind of found that in-between sweet spot, I think, in terms of how much weight he's carrying. He looks really good. Now, to me, the big question is, I know what Deuce is. Like today, like a minimum to me is Deuce is probably a 4-year starter. Now, honestly, there are guys now ready to take advantage if he's out. They've got Aki, who can play tackle in year 3. They've got Crownover, who can play tackle, I believe, in year 3 also. They've got you've got Trey Zune at one side, a returning starter, and then you've got Chase Basantes, who continues to just turn heads.
What are our chances to land Asindre Afua from Seattle, Washington? He's announcing his commitment on Saturday at 7 p.m. 3 schools, A&M, Miami, and Utah, are in the run.
Yeah, Papa, as everybody calls him,
Yeah,
affectionately
Papa
known as Papa Afua. Listen, man, we said since the pool party that A&M had built a ton of momentum there. When a kid from Seattle takes an unofficial visit over halfway across the country for a couple-of-day weekend where there's not a football game going on, that should tell you a whole lot.
Yep.
He was around his former high school teammate, Mark Naboo, an awful lot when he was in College Station. He was also around TJ Shanahan, who's got some Polynesian in his background as well. So those kids, TJ and Mark, did a great job with Papa when he was on campus, and then a long-standing relationship with the A&M staff and specifically Steve Adazio. And I think this one's going in A&M's favor. I think take something drastic for Utah or Miami to kind of overtake A&M's position heading into decision weekend. So those two schools aren't going to stop. Utah had previously made a big push in that recruitment. I believe he's got a relative that's on staff at Utah. So Utah had made a big push in that recruitment earlier in the summer and then late in the spring. I think A&M got it back to even and then really jumped ahead during that pool party weekend.
Awesome. Questions for Brauny at 979-693-1150. I started it, then we went away from it. But Blake Ivy, isn't that one that's kind of been quiet a little bit?
Well, it's been quiet for the entirety of his recruiting process. Right. And, even the people down there on the south side of Houston in Galveston County are kind of not in the dark, but they don't really know anything which way he's leaning. And the kid has kept it extremely private between him and his family. All we can go on is what we're hearing. A&M had jumped out to a lead. LSU got it back to even and probably took back the lead.
I don't know if you watched it. I should always text you beforehand, but did you watch the Johnny doc?
I haven't. I cannot wait to watch it. Everybody's got a Johnny story, right? As a fan, as a college football aficionado, as inexperience that they had while watching him play, take all the off-field drama out of it for just a moment. And was his final game the Peach Bowl against Duke?
Yes, it was.
Right. So that morning, I called the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. It was Boston College, Arizona. It was a fine game. I was more than happy to be doing it. But at that same time, that was right before Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, or right after.
Wasn't it New Year's Eve?
Probably New Year's Eve. Yeah, it had to have been New Year's Eve because it's always New Year's Eve or
Yeah.
Anyway, so the only reason I remember this was the in-laws were in town, and I had secured tickets to go to the Peach Bowl before I knew which bowl I was working. So I flew back from Shreveport. I get in an Uber. I tip the guy, and I said, drop me off at the football stadium. Take my bag to my house. And he's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, just drop me off. Take my bag with you. And I went in, and I showed up right before kick. And I don't know that I've ever been as transfixed by watching just one player as I was in that game. I mean, you couldn't take your eyes off of him. Every play, something happened. Whether it was disaster, near disaster, or elation from an A&M perspective. It was absolutely fascinating. I don't know that we've seen another player like him. I don't know that we will see another player like him because he obviously had the freedom based on his talent to do things that would get other guys benched.
All right, buddy.
What's up, bro?
What's up, son?
Friend, pal.
Back in my day in the 90s, we said, what's up, son?
This is my chief, David, right here.
My chief, that sounded so... I'm not going to even say what it sounded like. That just...
my chief.
All right. OF, finish it off for us.
This has been TexAgs Radio Rewind. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, subscribe, send it to all your friends, all your pals, and all your buddies.
Confidants. Hey, since you are a social media influencer, and I say that with respect, do you think we should be doing the like, comment, subscribe in the beginning of the video, or is it okay at the end of the video?
You want to do both.
You want to switch the old switcheroo every once in a while.
Switch
right?
it around every once in a while.
There's a joke there, but I'm not going there. We'll see you next time.